Hello, gentlemen. This is the homework for Friday, September 7th, which will be due on Monday. And we're going to do a couple of these problems together. And we're continuing with our objective of solving equations that have one, none, or infinite solutions. This isn't super hard, but it is a new concept, the idea that you might have a variable that either has no solution at all or that has infinite solutions, meaning any number can be put in there. So that's why we're going to continue to practice this. Also, it's something that you're going to see on IA1. It is, again, a goal that we have mastered this objective completely by the time we get to and through IA1, because this is going to be critically important as we move into more complicated algebra. So with all that being said, let's get started. So I'm taking a look at number 1, and my question here is, which equation has no solution? All right, so I'm gonna bracket this. I really am gonna use my mole, and I'm really gonna make sure that I pay attention to this no solution. All right, and so that's when I get something like A equals B. Right, I get two numbers that are not the same number, so that I have a solution that is not true. All right, so let's take a look and see which one of these. And the only way I'm going to be able to really do this right is if I try every one of them. So I'm going to go up here and say 1 minus 3x is equal to 2x minus 5x plus 1. And right away, I don't see any distributive property, and when I look at this side of the equation, 1 minus 3x, I can't do anything with it. But, ooh, I wrote sloppy. Let me rewrite this. When I look at the other part of this equation, where I have my 2x plus 5x plus 1, I do have these two, oh, and it's 2x minus 5x, forgive me, this negative 5x and this positive 2x to combine. So I'm left with negative 3x plus 1. Okay, so then I have 1 minus 3x is equal to negative 3x plus 1. If I add 3x to both sides, got rid of that here, plus 3x, so I get rid of the negative 3x, I'm left with 1 equals 1. And so this A, this has infinitely many solutions, so I know I'm not dealing with A. If you need my work, you can go ahead and write that down. I'm going to erase it so that I can do B. So looking at answer choice B, I have 1 minus 3x equals 2x minus 5x. So again, I can't combine anything on this side, and when I do my 2x minus 5x, I'm left with negative 3x. So I have 1 minus 3x equals negative 3x. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides, plus 3x, and I'm going to come up with, because it cancels out, 1 equals 0. And I know that that's not true. So right now I'm thinking B is probably my right answer, but because I am the kind of person that will make a bunch of mistakes and I need to try everything, I'm going to continue trying C and D to make sure that my answers are consistent. So for C, I have 1 plus 3x is equal to 2x minus 5x. 1 plus 3x is equal to 2x minus 5x. Okay, so 2x minus 5x gives me negative 3x. So I have 1 plus 3x equals negative 3x. I'm going to subtract the 3x from both sides. And negative 3x minus 3x gives me negative 6x. Don't get fooled by that. Okay, so I have 1 is equal to negative 6x. I divide both sides by negative 6, divided by negative 6, and I'm left with x is equal to negative 1 over 6. Okay, so that has one solution. So I know that C, I've already crossed out A, I know that C is not my answer. I'm going to take a look at D. So now I'm left 1 plus 3x equals 2x minus 5x plus 1. And I'm already seeing, again, I have this 1 plus 3x, it's going to say the same. I think this is going to be another infinitely many solutions, but let me just double check. So I'm left with negative 3x plus 1 is equal to 1 plus 3x. If I, oh, I'm not going to be left with infinitely. If I add 3x to both sides, plus 3x, plus 3x, I'm left with 1 plus 6x equals 1. I subtract 1 from both sides. And I'm left with 6x equals 0. Divide both sides by 6. Okay, so I'm left with x is equal to 0. And that feels weird to me, so I'm just going to quickly plug it in over here. 1 plus 3 times 0, which is 0. And then 2 times 0 minus 5 times 0, which is also 0, is going to leave me with plus 1. So then I would be left with 1 plus 0 equals 0 plus 1, which is basically 1 equals 1, which is infinitely many solutions. Okay, so I can confidently say now that B is my equation that has no solutions because 1 does not equal 0, which is what I was left over with. Let's move on to number 2. And number 2 is one of these, like, looks like a super scary equation that I need to simplify, and maybe it will be, but I think we're probably going to be able to handle it. I'll go ahead and draw my line right down the middle, maybe. There we go. And so I'm looking over here on the left side of this equation. So this, remember, the part on this side of the equal sign is the expression. My two expressions make up the equation. So over here, do I have any like terms that I can combine? Yes, I can combine my 9x, and I can combine my 5x, and I can combine my negative 8 and my positive 10. Okay, so when I combine my 9x and my 5x, I'm left with 14x. Negative 8 plus positive 10, it's going to have a positive answer. It's going to leave me with positive 2. All right, equals, I come over here on this expression, I have a negative 3 that I'm going to distribute to the negative 2x and the positive 1. When I do that, I'm going to be left with negative 3 times negative 2x. That's going to leave me with positive 6x minus 1. And I'll bring down the rest of this expression. 8x minus 3 plus 6x. What can I combine? I can combine my 8x and I can combine my 6x. And I can also combine my negative 3 and my negative 1. So I'm left with 8x plus 6x gives me 14x. And then when I combine negative 3 and negative 1, I'm left with negative 4. So I'm left with 14x plus 2 is equal to 14x minus 4. So I'm going to subtract 14x from both sides. Minus, 14x minus 14x. And when I do that, I'm left with 2 equals negative 4. So there is no solution here. All right, and just because I like to make sure that I've been thorough, and when I see no solution, I'm still like, ugh, that doesn't totally make sense, and I don't want to get into this place where I make mistakes and then call them no solution. So I'm actually just going to run through this again. Which, if I was taking my algebra regents, which is something you'll be doing, or my algebra IA, which is something you'll be doing even sooner, I want you to make sure that you're double checking everything you do. So again here, I'm going to combine my 9x with my 5x, I have my negative 8 and my positive 10. So I can simplify this by saying 14x plus 2. Still feel good about that, okay? I'm going to distribute my negative 3 to my negative 2x and my positive 1. So I'm left with 6x, because negative 2 times negative 3 is equal to 6, right? It's a positive number. Negative 3 times positive 1 is negative 1. So I'm left with 8x minus 3 plus 6x minus 1. Circle my 8x, circle my 6x. I have 14x. And then I have my negative 3 combined with negative 1, which is going to leave me with minus 4. Again, I'm subtracting 14x from both sides. And I'm left with 2 is equal to negative 4. I know that is not true, so I feel good about saying that this has no solution. For number 3, I want you guys to work on that on your own, and I hope you have an awesome weekend. We'll see you Monday.